You are Locked On 76ers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Man, it has become tradition on Locked On Sports Philadelphia during any postcast, whether that be the Phillies postcast, whether that be the Sixers postcast. You know, I don't know what Jason Martinez and Harry Mays are doing on that Locked On Eagles postcast, but they should be doing it as well. And they don't need to because they got plenty of winning streaks there with the Eagles. We don't have a lot of those winning streaks when we talk about the 10-9-8 76ers. So here we go. They have won 2 games in a row. They win one Tuesday against the Lakers. That's a winning streak. It has happened before. Welcome in to Locked On 76ers Postcast, the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. It is just wonderful to have you along for the ride, especially after, and I know some people might look at it as the back-to-back isn't anything. Who cares about the back-to-back? It doesn't matter. To this Sixers team, unfortunately, it matters. It matters that Paul George at least tried to play in this game before getting a boo-boo on his pinky. We'll wait for more information to come out about that. Only played 13 minutes tonight, but they only played 13 minutes with him. They played the rest of the game, obviously, without him. Tyrese Maxey stepped up. Eric Gordon stepped up for this team. Guerschon Yabusele obviously stepped up for this team. And Kelly Oubre stepped up for this team. And even Reggie Jackson, who I have been down on for quite some time, stepped up in a big way to help the Sixers to this victory tonight on the back-to-back. They're home last night. They get on the plane. They go to Chicago. They tip off 8 o'clock out there. And they're able to tough out a victory against the Bulls to get a second consecutive victory. I'm here for it. I love it, and I love what I saw from the 76ers tonight, especially when it came to toughing it out in that fourth quarter after the Bulls really established themselves in that third quarter, going on as much as I believe it was a 13-0 run on the 76ers. That's what the Bulls were able to do to close out that third quarter, but the Sixers responded thanks to everyone. Everyone that stepped on the court for the Sixers in the fourth quarter, they had that. They just so determined to win this game. We'll get into all that and more here on Locked On 76ers Postcast. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta, and also don't forget that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing Locked On 76ers Daily Newsletter. One stop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On 76ers newsletter. This particular episode is brought to you by FanDuel. First whistle to the final drive. FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. And right now, new customers can make a $5 bet and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Let's start it off with 3 big things. Number 1, what did we say last night? There were 2 challenges, and they play in perfectly to 1 and 2. Playing perfectly. One challenge was Tyrese Maxey again being an efficient scorer. And what was Tyrese Maxey able to do tonight in total? 31 points for Tyrese Maxey on 12 of 23 shooting. Now, that doesn't sound like the most efficient night, but what if I told you that was 5 of 13 from beyond the arc and just 2 of 2 from the free throw line? Despite many aggressive attempts by Tyrese Maxey, many times cutting to the basket, Tyrese Maxey went out there tonight and was able to make his layups, was able to make his outside shots, but for whatever reason was not getting foul calls again for the Sixers tonight. And it's just something that the refs, I don't know, have against them, have it against the Sixers, I don't know. But they swallowed the whistle a lot for the Sixers, especially when it came to more of their marquee players like Tyrese Maxey, for instance. There was one, and I'm not saying Eric Gordon is a marquee player by any means, but he's certainly a veteran. The fact that they had to review the foul that was on that foul where he was fouled, at the end of that fourth quarter was just ridiculous, but that's the way it played out. But Maxey tonight, just 2 free throws for him, and the amount of times that he attacked the rim doesn't make any sense, but still he kept on fighting. He also got you 9 assists on the night. He also got you 5 rebounds on the night, 2 steals. He had 3 turnovers in the game, was overall +6, and he just kept battling. And when you needed him to step up the most was late in that fourth quarter, and really was a combination of guys. But when the Sixers were taking control of this game in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, Tyrese Maxey made that great drive. The Sixers came up with the timeout. Nick Nurse called a timeout. Sixers are trying to really make sure that they're taking control of this game. Maxey gets the driving floater to make it 95-91. Comes down to the very next possession after, I think it was the Levine that dropped in one on the other side, on the other end of the court. Maxey comes down the other end, bang, nails his 5th three of the night, and the Sixers are able to go up in that instance 98-93. And then the next two guys I got to talk about here. Tyrese Maxey is number 1. Number 3 is the more controversial one, but number 2, let's get to number 2 because I just got to sing this guy's praise. Kelly Oubre has been every ounce of the next man up mentality that we talk so much about with the Eagles. Kelly Oubre has been that guy in the Sixers starting lineup. Another double-double for him tonight. Goes out there for the Sixers and gets you 22 points, gets you 12 rebounds, gets you other and one situations, struggled from the line tonight. And yes, when he missed both free throws in the early goings of that fourth quarter when the Bulls were establishing their lead, that was concerning. But Kelly Oubre helped close this win out, came down with a 3 with about 3 minutes left in the game to make it a 101-93 lead. And then Kelly Oubre came down the court at the 2:30 mark of that fourth quarter, gave the Sixers a 103-95 lead when he had that extremely tough layup. You talk about toughing it out tonight. He absolutely toughed it out for the Sixers, again, to the tune of 22 points and 13 rebounds. You want a next man up? You want a guy that's not afraid to go through the lane? You want a guy that was also helping to set up his teammates in tonight's game? I meant to check. He only had 3 assists, but they were 3 really good assists tonight for him. Loved, again, what I saw from Kelly Oubre, and I have loved what I have seen from him so far this season for the Sixers. I know some people were 50-50 on it, take him or leave him at the end of last year, whether or not you wanted him to return to the Sixers this year. I absolutely wanted Kelly Oubre back, and it was this exact reason, the energy off the bench. Him, Tyrese Maxey, helped fuel the Sixers in that fourth quarter to outscore the Bulls 29-14. There's a couple of guys that certainly deserve praise, and we will praise them. I'm not gonna not praise guys that came up clutch for this Sixers team. Spoiler, Eric Gordon's one of them. But what did I say last night? Now, I mentioned I want Tyrese Maxey to continue to be an efficient scorer for the Sixers. He was tonight, again, only with 2 free throws. 31 points on 23 shots. But I issued that challenge to Tyrese Maxey to do it again. After a 30-point performance by Paul George last night in Philadelphia, I issued the same challenge to him. Do it again. That was great that we saw it last night. Do it again. January has been your best month as a Sixer, and that includes, unfortunately, some injury problems there with a groin injury that limited your play in the month of January. What were you going to do tonight? After a 30-point performance and a great upset over the Cleveland Cavaliers, when the Sixers needed you to step up again, what were you going to do? Now, here's the problem. We know how it ends. He only played 13 minutes. He injured his pinky finger, came back to the bench after leaving early in the second quarter with his left pinky finger taped up after I think it collided with the forearm of, I think it was Nick Vucevic that it collided against. Gets it taped up, comes back to the bench. But before that, 9 points in the first quarter. He was getting after it in the first quarter. He looked like he was going to be on his way to a 25, 30-point night, and that's exactly what I laid out for him last night. I said, you know what, this is great to see this from Paul George. The thing is we need consistency from him. January's been his most consistent month. Let's see if he can do this on the back-to-back. First, let's see if he actually plays in the back-to-back. You saw the starting lineups come out earlier today. I saw it from our friend Keith Pompey of Locked On 76ers Daily Podcast. And there it was. He was in the starting lineup. He came out of the gates playing hard. And then, unfortunately, had the finger injury, and then he was cooked. But he came out in that first quarter, and I thought he set the tone well for himself. Had a great baseline driving layup. Gave the Sixers like an 8-7 lead. That's how early we're talking about in this game. Knocked down a 3. Was plenty aggressive. Had a great reverse layup. Like, all this stuff was great. And I was like, he's on his way. He's going to do it again. And then he did it. And then I thought, okay, hopefully the Sixers can keep this coming. ESPN gave the Sixers only a 26% chance to win this game, according to their analytics, okay? Without Paul George, I think that went down quite a bit, and it did not, as far as the Sixers were concerned. They made sure they just kept on going along in this one. I give them a lot of credit for this one. I know some people want to roll their eyes at the idea of winning a back-to-back. When it's against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then you go on the road to play the next night in Chicago, halfway across the country, I'm pretty happy for the 76ers team and what they were able to do tonight. Is it everything? No, but it's a nice step in the right direction. Do we know, look, the Martins, KJ Martin, Caleb Martin could be coming back sooner rather than later. Everything's progressing well there. You heard the report at halftime about both, actually going into the game tonight, about both those players, with the Martins potentially joining up with this team in the next week or so. I'll be crossing my fingers for that because the Sixers, as we know, need all the help they can get. As far as Joel Embiid goes, well, we don't really have any expectations, do we? No, at least not yet. But when it came to the guys that were out there on the court, this is one of the rare games this season where you were down to just a Tyrese Maxey as a leader, and Kelly Oubre stepped up and did exactly what he's supposed to do as that next man up. And you had great hustle from some players that we're going to highlight in the next segment. They stepped up tonight and made sure they didn't lose this game, and they kept their composure and poise as the game went on. Even that 13-0 run late in the third quarter, they just kept on bringing it, and you love to see that from your 76ers. When we come back, we will talk about those unsung heroes who, again, for the second night in a row, the role players rolled. We'll highlight them when we come back on Locked On 76ers Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. When you look at this squad tonight, don't forget about FanDuel and how great FanDuel is. Right now, FanDuel, from the first whistle of a game to the final drive, FanDuel's making the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate and has a variety of bets to keep every game exciting no matter what. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Who wants to wait when you win? You want cash, man. You want that cold, hard cash. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or you're just looking to make another game more interesting for yourself, FanDuel is here to help, and they got you covered. Right now, Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles. The Birds still favored by 6.5 points over the Commanders with an over-under set at 47.5. As for the Bills and Chiefs still a 1.5 favorite in that one. As outright betting goes to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, the Eagles are the favorites at plus 175 over the Chiefs, going on right now at plus 210. The Buffalo Bills at plus 250. And the Washington Commanders going out at plus 850. How about that? Just visit FanDuel.com to join today to get started. That's $300. If you win your first $5 bet, $300 in bonus bets on FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel on FanDuel.com, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. How about that? Pretty fantastic. Let's talk about some of these guys that were the unsung heroes. However, I can't even say that because we sung them last night. They were the role players that were able to step up. Reggie Jackson, not one of them last night, certainly was one of them tonight. And I have not been exactly the biggest supporter of Reggie Jackson, but I mentioned that turnaround in the early goings of that fourth quarter when the Sixers needed something to happen. Reggie Jackson in that fourth quarter knocked down a three at the 8:03 mark to make it an 89-88 Sixers lead. Hadn't done much, but he was at the top of the key, and he was chill as could be. And he was just sitting up there waiting for something to open up. Nothing opened up, and he just let it rip, and he knocked it down. Did not do much tonight. If you look at the box score tonight, at what Reggie Jackson did for the Sixers tonight, where's he at? Reggie Jackson, 15 minutes of play tonight, got you 12 points. He did finish double figures there, obviously. 5 of 10 shooting, hit 2 threes. That one to start off the fourth quarter was exactly what you needed to see from a guy like that to make sure that he gave you that contribution. So that was great to see. Someone else that really stepped up for the Sixers tonight in a huge way was Guerschon Yabusele. Right around that opening moments there, the fourth quarter at the 10:20 mark, he had a slam from Kelly Oubre that was vicious. And Oubre had a great pass to him. Like I said earlier, Oubre didn't have a lot of assists, 3 in this game, but each one was money and one prettier than the last. And I think this was his last one of the game. 10:20 mark of that fourth quarter, Guerschon Yabusele goes up there and throws down a slam from Kelly Oubre to help set a tone for the Sixers. Shortly after that, that's when Oubre missed those free throws. But then right after that, 7:02 remaining in that quarter, and you see Guerschon Yabusele go up there. He throws down a reverse layup to give the Sixers a 3-point lead at that point. Maxey comes down with that beautiful fadeaway jump shot in the middle of the lane, makes it 93-88. Sixers, guess what? Kept it coming. And how about this? The biggest difference in this game was highlighted in the middle of that fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter alone, the Chicago Bulls had 7 turnovers at the start of that Sixers run around the 4:30 mark of the fourth quarter. Throughout the entire game, the Bulls had 20 turnovers to the Sixers 10. That is unheard of. Unheard of, especially when you talk about a Sixers team that struggles with turnovers in their own right. Now, here's what's crazy. The Bulls turned the basketball over 20 times in this game. They conceded 25 points off those turnovers. The Sixers were in a similar, but better, much better ratio, actually. 10 turnovers, conceding only 11 points in those turnovers. That's a pretty good night for the Sixers when you talk about that turnover battle. Talk about rebounds, though. They were out-rebounded by 14 rebounds. 54 rebounds for the Bulls, 40 for the Sixers. But as far as the clutch performances go, again, from these guys late, the minute I knew the Sixers, I was doubtful. I wasn't exactly brimming with confidence throughout the game. But the moment I said the Sixers are going to win this game, wasn't Reggie Jackson's 3 at the start of the fourth quarter, wasn't Guerschon Yabusele's layup or dunk, wasn't even Kelly Oubre's 3 and tough lay-in where he got you 5 points in 35 seconds. It was Eric Gordon at the 1:53 mark of the fourth quarter knocking down that 3 to make it 108-95. That's the moment I said, we're under 2 minutes. They have this nice big fat lead. They're going to keep it going. And sure enough, they kept it going, and they get the 109-97 win. But every single guy on this roster for the second straight night did something. Adem Bona, not a great night with points, only 4, but got you 7 rebounds. To lead the bench, was actually second on the Sixers in rebounds. It's only Kelly Oubre, who got you 12 on the evening. Guerschon Yabusele only finished with 6 points, but made those points count. Was 0 for 5 from beyond the arc. He struggled there. I don't know if it was fatigue or whatever, but just seemed to be a little bit off when it came to his 3-point shot, but still able to get you those rebounds. Was a plus 10 overall in the evening. So for me, I look at everybody on this roster. Even in a limited time, Paul George was out there. And I say these guys, everybody helped one another out tonight. So you love to see that from this Sixers squad. When we come back, we're going to be highlighting a little bit more on the Sixers roster, including Ricky Council IV, who's a guy that's been almost pushed aside a little bit there by Nick Nurse. And I don't know if Nick Nurse is seeing a little bit of lacking from Justin Edwards. You wouldn't know by his minutes. You would know from his point total, unfortunately. So we come back, we'll talk about that. And then overall, the psyche of the 76ers at this point in the season. Past the midway point now, they have improved now to 17-27 after a 7-game losing streak. Really sunk them down and knocked them off the pace that they were trying to get back into the play-in tournament or have a playoff seed. The psyche of the 76ers right now, I think you really learned something tonight about where their headspace is. They don't want to hear about tanking. They don't want to hear about a process 2.0. They don't want to hear about even missing the playoffs. All they want to do is win. And tonight, they proved that in Chicago. I'm not saying beating the Bulls is an end-all, be-all, make you a playoff team all of a sudden. But what I am saying is when you see the Sixers not just go out and die because of how they finished the third quarter, but rather rally in the fourth quarter, that lets you know exactly what this team is all about. So you'll love to hear that and see that from the Sixers. So when we return, we'll break that down a little bit further and a couple more of these guys able to come off the bench to help the Sixers to the victory tonight. Again, their second straight win after 7 straight losses. That's when we return on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers Postcast. My name is Mark Farzetta. Back after this. Talkspace. You guys heard me talking about this one last night. Therapy is a game changer. It can help manage stress, improve sleep, and communicate more effectively and efficiently. But finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into your busy schedule can be a bit of a challenge. That's where Talkspace comes in. Talkspace is the leading virtual therapy provider that makes getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. With Talkspace, signing up is simple. You can match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours, and it's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your own home and even message your therapist between appointments. Plus, Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's $0 copay. How about that? It's never been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of this podcast and viewer, you're able to get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA. That's Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80 to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA and enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show as well. So that's Talkspace.com/LockedOnNBA, promo code SPACE80. I think you can find out a lot about the Sixers team, and I know we talked about this earlier in the season. When you went into the year, even maybe a week before the Sixers opened their season in South Philly, we were all hoping for the best with Joel Embiid, and then it was kind of sprung on us that all of a sudden Joel Embiid wasn't going to be ready to open the season, and then he wasn't going to be ready for the first week of the season, and he wasn't going to be ready until the play-in tournament. Excuse me, not the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament started, because God forbid he misses out Adam Silver's baby of the in-season tournament. But ever since then, it has just been one guessing game after another. And even if the Sixers, and it's got to be weighing on them, they don't know if they're going to have Joel Embiid or not come playoff time. And I don't mean the first round of the playoffs. I don't mean the play-in tournament. I mean a month or two leading into the playoffs when you're really jockeying for position to be on the postseason schedule. And right now the Sixers are a game behind the Chicago Bulls, who they were able to beat tonight, so they helped their own cause with that. They are 18 and a half games out of first place in the Eastern Conference, while the Bulls are 17 and a half games out. Sixers beat the Cavs. Nobody saw that coming. Sixers handled their business today against the Bulls with barely having Paul George out there and, of course, no Joel Embiid. The mindset of this team from the start of the season to now had to have changed. Not that they ever didn't want to win, but you had the showdown in Miami where they're yelling at each other and calling each other out in the locker room. Then you have the moment where they get blown out by the Denver Nuggets and just absolutely embarrassed in Denver, to the reports coming out after that game about one reporter named, I remember her name was Michelle for the Mile High City. She went by Mile High Michelle for her Denver paper and said, or website, I should say, and said, there's a lot of shouting and cursing coming from the 76ers locker room. They share a wall with the Denver media. The Denver media room shared a wall with the away team's locker room, and there was a lot of shouting and profanity. Well, good. They should be upset. I don't want them happy. So that at least makes you feel good. Then Nick Nurse comes out, and he's ripping his team, talking about effort. The same game I was talking to you guys about with Stan Van Gundy ripping the effort of the 76ers and how, the Sixers barely had anything going into this game. And he wasn't wrong. He was just blatantly honest, more honest than what we're used to hearing from any national commentator. It was almost personal with him. But again, he wasn't wrong. So for the Sixers to respond from a game like that to go beat the Cavs and then go beat the Bulls is a great step forward for them. And they have to be operating under a mentality of, this might be all we got for the rest of the season. So are we going to make this season a complete waste, or are we going to continue to try our best, put our best foot forward, whether that be with Tyrese Maxey, whether that be with Kelly Oubre, whether that be with a guy like Gershon Yabusele, who was playing in France for 6-7 years, and then finally gets a chance to prove himself and how good he could be in the Olympics, and then gets an NBA contract with the Sixers. You're going to go tell him that this is a wasted NBA season because Joel Embiid can't stay healthy, because Paul George can't stay healthy, because it's just Tyrese Maxey leading the squad? I don't think so. Are you going to tell that to Kelly Oubre, who's trying to just prove how good he can really be at the NBA level with another double-double for himself tonight? No, you're not telling him that. And they're not going to back down from it. So the fact that they could have turtled up and just went away and withered away in that fourth quarter after the way they closed the third, it wasn't going to happen. As for some other guys, I mentioned Justin Edwards earlier when I talked about some unsung heroes. Not the best night for him. 0 for 3 from beyond the arc for Justin Edwards. 3 points, unfortunately. Was only made one of his 2 free throws. It was 1 for 6 from the floor in 29 minutes of work. So, going to need a little bit more from him, especially if he's logging those kind of minutes. It also was first off the bench in the first quarter. So Nick Nurse is giving him every opportunity. Oh, something I didn't even mention. Tyrese Maxey tonight. Another 40-minute night for him. Played 43 minutes tonight. Played 40 minutes against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So 83 minutes worth of basketball and 60 points. I'll take that from Tyrese. All right, let's get into our chat check here. I want to see what you wonderful people are talking about in the chat. Bam Man 100. Good to see you. Nice to see the Sixers didn't have a letdown game and got the W. How about that? Eric Gordon was clutch. I'm telling you, Bam Man, when Eric Gordon knocked down that three with under 2 minutes remaining, that's when I said, oh my God, they're going to win back-to-back games. They're going to win 2 in a row. And that's exactly what they did. Zach LaVine, anti-clutch, thankfully. Yeah, he did not have himself a good game. A good clutch moment down the stretch, unfortunately. What did he end up with tonight? I didn't even see. Lord, what did I see here? Zach LaVine, 25 points. I knew he scored over 20. 10 of 20 shooting, 2 for 9 from beyond the arc, 3 for 8 from the free throw line. Hot dang. 25 points. Nikola Vucevic, former Sixer, or Vucevic, I think he goes by now. 22 points. Oh, he's always gone by that. It's just our accent. Anyway, 22 points for them. Elliot, what's going on? Elliot, nice to see you again. Back to back, and the corpse of Eric Gordon lives. I was watching the game. My brother-in-law and a friend of mine, and we were all talking about Kyle Lowry, not exactly looking like he's in the best shape. What did he finish with tonight? I know he had 1-3. Did he have 1-3? I think it was 1-3. I think he had 1-3 for this 10-9-8 76ers squad. No threes. He had 1 field goal is what he made. He had 2 points. What am I saying? Crazy to think he had 3. But yeah, Eric Gordon has turned things around for himself. Props to Oubre, who it feels like he's been playing with an improved sense of focus lately. That's a good way to put it. I don't even know how many double-doubles it is for him, but he has certainly notched a bunch lately. They had 22 and 12 tonight, had 22 and 13 against the Cavs. Then he went through a little stretch there where he wasn't able to get a double-double, and I think it was after 4 games where he had a double. Anyway, he's been Johnny on the spot when it comes to the double-doubles. Matt Forrester, what's going on? Gotta love Farzi. He's the unsung hero of Philly sports. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Jason A. What's up, Jason A? My guy. Crazy to see Eric Gordon score. I laughed my ass off. I love what I've been seeing from Eric Gordon. January, he actually started out well, had that dental issue, and since he has come back, he has been a lot more reliable for the Sixers. A lot more reliable. Here it is from our friend Keith Pompey. Nick Nurse said Paul George jammed his pinky finger. Will have an MRI tomorrow. That means Sunday he'll have an MRI. Oh, goody. But let me get these numbers. So Eric Gordon in the starting lineup, 29 minutes played, 13 points scored for him. Shot 37% from beyond the arc tonight as part of those 13 points. But now 15 points against the Cavs, 13 points against the Bulls. All right, nice little run for Eric Gordon. 3 for 8 is what he shot. 3 for 8 from the floor tonight, or from beyond the arc for Eric Gordon. Keep this up. 8.8 points per game is his season high in the month of January. That's what he's averaged for the Sixers. So trending in the right direction. Let's keep getting that help. Jason A. NFC champions tomorrow, Farzi. Let's go. Oh, hell yeah. It's all. You kidding me? I mean, I love, no matter what, I always love watching basketball. Even if the Sixers are playing terrible basketball, I still love them. But, of course, my mind is on tomorrow. So in closing, the 76ers will host the Washington Commanders for the NFC Championship tomorrow at 3 o'clock in South Philadelphia. My pick, and don't forget, right here on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Jason Martinez, Harry Mays have you covered for your Locked On Eagles postcasts. So don't miss that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My prediction for tomorrow, Philadelphia Eagles come away with a victory over the Washington Commanders, 27-24, because Jaden Daniels just won't go away. They don't cover, but they win. I think Saquon does his thing. I think Jalen in the passing game gives us a lot of confidence in their performance for how they would perform in the Super Bowl. And the Eagles go on to face the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. That's the way I see it shaking out. So let's hope that's right. Right? Absolutely. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is Locked On Sports Philadelphia on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great. Be back with you guys Tuesday night. Don't forget, Jason and Harry have you covered for your Locked On Eagles Postcast tomorrow. See you guys Tuesday. Until then. Go Birds.